Earth is always speaking to us, but are we ever listening? Okay. Earth is always speaking to us. Are we listening? I'm sure you've probably noticed the abundance of natural events that have happened within the last year, within the last 2 years, 3 years. Particularly within the last year, there's been an abundance of natural events, natural disasters, very extreme weather, very strange and unexpected weather patterns. This is one way that the earth communicates with us, and it's a direct communication. It's a direct message from the earth. But if you have grown up in any sort of advanced, civilized society, this might sound very strange, especially for most people who are alive right now, are living under some form of modern Western civilization. And the dominant messages from this civilization sort of prevent you from hearing the message of the earth directly, or even knowing that there is a message being sent by the earth that you can directly access without any intermediary, without reading any book, without consulting any whoever. It's a direct message that anyone and everyone who is alive can access. So this may sound crazy, and that's because most of us have been conditioned, through socialization, through schooling in particular, to not be in touch with our intuition, to not be in touch with our innermost knowing, with the parts of ourselves that speak to us truthfully, that arise from within our being, not from the external world coming outwards at you. That is important information, but it is distinct from the information that arises this way. And this is the language that the earth speaks, and it's not English. And that's not to say that it has to be some other language, like Spanish or German or whatever. There are languages that people do already speak that allow greater access to that voice of the earth or intuition. One example of such a language is the Lakota language that is spoken amongst some indigenous people in America. You'll find that a lot of indigenous people who still have access and connection to their indigenous culture, that way of life, generally tend to speak this language with the earth better, or to hear this language better, because their society does not tell them to ignore. Their society does not tell them to, live here and only listen to what comes from the head, only listen to what comes from outside. Everything else that is underneath here is not. No, we're not taught that in our most indigenous natural way of being. So what I want to talk about now is the reality of Earth, the reality of Mother Earth, the reality of Gaia. The reality of the Earth is that she is a whole living being, and we as human beings are part of the Earth. We are not separate beings living on top of the Earth. Every other creature that also resides on Earth is also an aspect of the Earth. So, for example, if the Earth were my hand here, human beings are like one finger, animals are another finger, plants are another finger, air is another finger, water is another finger, but it's all still part of the same whole, complete system. The problem that a lot of human beings are running into, creating and experiencing, is the thought patterns that we are separate from the earth. societies live with the idea that we can operate independently of everything else that is here. We think that we can make decisions about everything else that is here, thinking that we have the authority to conduct everything that goes around here. No, that's not correct. As you can see, this pinky cannot exist independently of everything else that is going on here. It's not possible. Everything else, everything that teaches you that that is the case is a mistake. It's an illusion. It appears that way. It just appears that way. It's not actually the reality of life. It's not the reality of the earth. So that's why you'll find Earth, as a living being who is all of us, who we are part of, has to make decisions for all of us. And that means she has to make decisions that benefit the whole. But that sometimes means that anyone, even innocent people, even people who are not responsible for the destruction that is currently happening on Earth, will pay the price of that. Innocent people, will be affected by floods, will be affected by fires, will be affected by any other natural disasters. And people who are also responsible for those things. But the thing is that people who tend to be responsible for those things also tend to have a pattern of running away from their responsibility.
Try!
For now, a lot of those people have been able to run away, but that's not the reality forever. Eventually, Earth catches up. And speaking to that illusion that I talked about earlier, the Earth cannot take orders from any human being, from any human system. No matter how powerful this human system appears to be, the Earth does not operate like that. The Earth cannot be subdued by human beings for their own desires, their own pleasures, whatever's. Earth exists and just exists like that. The times when people have been able to dominate the Earth are being phased out by the Earth. Yes. And so what that means is people who are continuing to operate from dominator ways of relating are at risk of extinction. That is the reality. They are at risk of causing their own demise. It's not very obvious, but it's
As I promise, like, and even it's been a.
Is something that will happen, and the only way to avoid, if you are able to beautifully recognize that you participate in a dominator way of existence, then you are able to see the way out. And the only way out is in. The only way out is to listen. What I am saying is that, yes, the Earth communicates with you, and yes, the Earth will do what she needs to do to take care of the whole, which does mean she will send tornadoes where she needs to send tornadoes. She will cause floods where she needs to cause floods. She will cause fires where she needs to cause fires. But if it is true that you are deeply, intimately, completely connected to her because you are part of her, you will know where in the storm to stand to not be hit. And the only way to know that is to know yourself and is to trust the deep, truthful voice that comes from in here. And that is a practice, something that needs to be practiced, especially when we're completely conditioned out of it. It's something that needs to be practiced and accessed frequently. So this idea did not originate with me. The people who awakened me to this truth that is already living inside of me and is already living inside of you, I would like to thank Tiokasin Ghost Horse for being one of the most vocal people about this intuition that we all have, that is the direct voice of the earth that we have so unfortunately and so painfully and traumatically dissociated from. So please go look for Tiokas and Ghost Horse on YouTube, on Facebook, on his radio. I think it's called First Voices Radio. Please look for Tiokas and Ghost Horse, or anyone else who is able to help you to access this inner voice and help you to speak your language that is directly connected with the earth, because you are directly inseparably connected with the earth, and anything else is an illusion. It is. So see it for yourself. Go and hear it for yourself.